Hello folks, and welcome to Friday's edition of Magoo Sports News. I am Magoo, and essentially this is my program which is entirely dedicated to sports and sports news. So basically today is Friday, which is a fantastic day because everybody has got 4 days off due to the royal wedding. Well, we won't talk much about that because it's not sport related. So I absolutely love Fridays because Fridays essentially, weekend is packed full of sports. You can basically watch sports from Friday night all the way through to Sunday evening. How fantastic is that? So we've got a lot to talk about on today's show, so I'm just going to get straight into it. What did we have? Wednesday night, of course, we had El Clasico. Now this was an absolute shambles of a game. Basically, first half was completely scrappy. All Real Madrid wanted to do, which we all kind of knew anyway. Mourinho set his team out to kick Barcelona off the pitch. It was working well, 0-0 at half time, seemed to be going okay. One thing I will mention about the first half though is Pedro. What is that guy all about? Pedro, remember last year against Inter Milan in the semi-finals of the Champions League, he got knocked in the chest, he goes down, rolling around as if he's been shot, looks through his fingers, remember to see if the referee had sent the player off, of course he had. It's an absolute shame. Again, last night he did that, he basically got knocked in the chest, went down, rolling around, head, holding his head as if he'd been punched in the face, and it's an absolute joke. Play acting in football seems to be very common these days. Come on guys, let's knock this out and just have a fair old game of football. So basically, into the second half, what happened? Well, one of the most contentious issues was obviously Pepe's red card. Was it a red card? I don't know. To be honest with you, he did lead with his studs. I mean, in the Premiership, if you do that, you're going to get a yellow card, you're not going to get a red card. But because it's a semi-final of the Champions League, you are dicing with death there, essentially. So I think red card, maybe. But Mourinho's rant was pretty good afterwards. He basically said that Barcelona get favours from all the referees. I would have to agree with him, to be honest. I think referees do favour referees do favour Barcelona purely because they're Barcelona. They've got the best players in the world, and everybody wants to see Barcelona in the final, don't they? Anyway, basically, we have to do a little mention to Messi's goals. Messi is an absolutely fantastic talent. His first goal, obviously, is a nice little run, got in front of the defender, puts the ball through Casillas' leg. It's a great goal. But his second goal, that guy, reminiscent of Maradona against England, maybe. I don't know, that's the thing. Ronaldo versus Messi, the whole debate, is Messi the best player in the world? Is Messi the best player ever? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm going to have a little talk about that later on in my show, in my contentious issues section. So, one more result there was on Wednesday night as well in the Premiership, our own very Premiership. Yeah, it was Fulham 3, Bolton 0. Didn't really have much bearing on the league, this result, but it did confirm that Mark Hughes is a good manager, in my opinion. I honestly think Mark Hughes should have stayed at Manchester City, and I think Manchester City would have been challenging for the league this year if he'd have stayed. Problem is, Mark Hughes isn't a big name. He's not a big name manager, so chairmen don't want that. They want some Mancini type person to attract all the best players. I personally disagree. I think Mark Hughes would have been a better manager, but we can always have a little debate about it in the comment section below, so have a little write down if you disagree with me. So yeah, moving on to the next bit of sports news, which was snooker. Snooker is hotting up at the moment. It's the World Championships. Semi-final lineup is all complete. Wednesday night, though, we had Ronnie O'Sullivan versus John Higgins. Now, essentially, Ronnie O'Sullivan hasn't been playing well. His heart's not in the game anymore. I think he's just finished. He even just thought he said to the snooker body that he didn't want to play this year because, I don't know, he's bored or something. Play the game. You get loads of money for it. You're good at it. What's wrong with you? I don't know. I mean, he essentially got beaten by John Higgins, which is not too bad a thing because John Higgins is a fantastic player. A little bit of trouble with the scandal last year, but I don't know. Maybe he was going to take a bribe. Maybe he wasn't. I personally think he wasn't. But again, another issue we can discuss. So anyway, the semi-final lineup is as follows. It's Mark Williams versus John Higgins and Ding Junhui versus Judd Trump. As I said on Wednesday, Ding Junhui is definitely my tip. I know he's losing 5-3 at the moment, but Judd Trump's a young lad. He'll get nervous. He's winning 5-3 at the moment, and we'll see what happens today. That match, by the way, is on at 7 o'clock tonight, Friday. British time, if you want to watch it, you should, because this guy, Judd Trump, I mean, I don't think he's going to win, like I said, but he can pot some balls. He's an absolute amazing player to watch. So anyway, moving on. Basically, we've got the tennis on at the moment, which is the Serbian Open. Not very interesting, not a big tournament, but the interesting fact about it is that Novak Djokovic is playing again. He's been injured a little bit, but he's back, and he has actually not lost a match this year. He has won every single game he has played. So he's through to the, I think, quarterfinal, which is today, and then obviously semi-finals and finals over the weekend. Again, you can watch that if you've got it on the television. Golf. Ballantine Championships on at the moment. Lee Westwood, see, he had a bit of a problem yesterday, finished on even par, but managed to have a pretty good round today. He finished on -4. He's 6 shots off the lead though. An Australian fella called Brett Rumford shot at 9 under 63. He's on 10 under par. He's leading the tournament, but as ever with golf, there's absolutely no way you can know who the winner is by the cut. Also, Arsene Wenger, he's saying that he's not going to sell Cesc Fabregas. I don't know about this. Personally, my opinion, I think that Cesc Fabregas should be sold, get the 35 million, whatever, 35 million, 30 million, then rebuild from there. His heart is not in playing from Arsenal anymore. He doesn't want to be in London, he doesn't want to be in the Premiership, he wants to be back home in sunny Spain, eating his paella and his whatever they eat there. I mean, the thing is, if Arsene Wenger keeps him for another season, he's just, I mean, you've seen him play in the last few weeks, he's just looked awful. Sell him, buy some new players, loads of new players. He's got about 30 million in the bank to spend already, so if he gets another 35 million, he could bring in a whole new team. Anyway, so let's move on and have a look at, that's essentially all the news. Let's have a look at the weekend. What have we got? Well, Premiership fixtures. I mean, we have got 4 amazing fixtures that you have to keep an eye out for. The first one, obviously, the big one, Arsenal versus Man United. If Man United win, that's pretty much the league in the bag. I can't see them, even if they lose to Chelsea at Old Trafford, which, you know, they'll probably play for a draw, they'll still win the league. This is a big game. This is the title decider. The big one is coming. If Arsenal win, though, which I actually predicted Arsenal wouldn't win any more games this season, remember. I think that Man United might go on and lose it, which Chelsea will then obviously overtake them, like I said, and win the league. Chelsea-Tottenham, second big game this weekend. Absolutely amazing. Chelsea have to win to remain in the title chase. Tottenham, again, they have to win to basically stay in the 4th place Champions League spot. Who's going to win? I don't know. It's going to be a tricky game. Another big game as well, which doesn't really have any bearing on the league, but if you remember back in the 90s, Liverpool versus Newcastle. Now, if you cast your mind back to I think it was 1996 and 1997, they had 2 games of 4-3. One team went 3-all. Liverpool won both games 4-3. Can Lightning strike a third time? Yeah, it's a little bit late, but it should be a fantastic game anyway. And then the last game, which I've highlighted, is Manchester City versus West Ham. Big game on both sides. Manchester City can cement their place in 4th spot, even maybe overtake Arsenal, like I predicted, by beating West Ham. It's at the City of Manchester Stadium, so, you know, you would expect them to win. But West Ham, if they lose this game, I would say they're all but relegated. Basically, their remaining fixtures is Blackburn. That's a 6-pointer. Wigan, that's a 6-pointer. And Sunderland, oh, they have to play Sunderland at home, so I'm giving them the 3 points for that, but very interesting game. So let's move on. We got the Championship next. Basically, 2 massive games, 2 absolutely huge games in the Championship this weekend. You would think QPR are promoted, you know, they only need 1 point to secure the Championship. They're 6 points ahead of 3rd place with a better goal difference, 2 games left, so you'd say they were promoted, but it's the playoffs. The playoffs is where the action is. Wow, we have got Leeds versus Burnley. Both teams are within 3 points of the 4th playoff place. If they win and Nottingham Forest, who are home to Scunthorpe, win, if Nottingham Forest lose, then essentially one of those guys will overtake them and take the 4th place. Now there's only 2 games left, so these guys are leaving it a bit late, but a couple of wins might just do it. The other one is Millwall Swansea. Millwall again are just 3 points off the playoff places. I think they're even 2 points off the playoff places. Swansea though, Swansea I think have cemented their place in the playoffs, so they won't be too bothered about this game. They'll want to maybe put some pressure on Norwich, who are in second place, and then essentially we'll see what happens there. So like I say, the Championship's hotting up at the moment. It's going to be fantastic. All the games I think are on Saturday, a couple of games on Sunday. So, what else have we got? There's not just football in the world, we have a mountain of sports all over the place. Rugby union, basically Heineken Cup semi-finals. The Heineken Cup is essentially the Champions League equivalent in rugby union. This year we've got Leinster versus Toulouse, which is essentially Ireland versus France. We've also got Northampton Perpignan. Who will win those games? My personal predictions, I think Leinster will go through. I'd love to see Northampton go through, but just to see an English-Irish final, but we'll just have to wait and see. Now, Rugby League. Some of you are probably thinking to yourself, oh Magoo, why don't you mention Rugby League? Well, I just did. So, moving on. No, I'm only joking, There's one big thing in Rugby League going on at the moment. The trouble is, it's the middle of their season. It's not really much going on. Big game though, it is Castleford versus Leeds. Anyone from Yorkshire will know this is a massive local derby. Huge game. One player coming back is a fellow called Peacock. He essentially got injured in the fixture last year of Castleford versus Leeds. He is a big player for Leeds. So let's see who's going to win that one. Should be a very good game. Let's have a look. What else have we got? I'm going to start a new section in my show, which is called Contentious Issues. Essentially, I'm just going to throw out what's in the news. I disagree with what essentially they're saying, and then you can leave your comments and let me know whether you agree with me or whether you agree with the other people. Now, first one is Formula One. Now, Bernie Ecclestone is essentially saying that the Bahrain Grand Prix still has a chance to go ahead. Bernie, I mean, seriously, this is a country that's almost at civil war. Protesters are getting shot. You really want to take a Grand Prix to this sort of country? You may as well have the next one in Libya. You know what I mean? So just take the Grand Prix, put it somewhere else, some country that's safe. Maybe a country that's in the northern hemisphere that has a bit of rain. Do you remember the days that Grand Prix used to have rainy Grand Prix and used to have drivers who were good rain drivers? All the Grand Prix these days seem to be in the desert. What's going on? Sort it out, Bernie. So anyway, that contentious issue is what I think about that. The second contentious issue was golf. Essentially, the world #1 spot is being thrown around each player at the moment. Basically, it's Lee Westwood, it's Martin Keimer, almost Luke Donald the other day. Now, what Nick Faldo was saying is that the #1 spot should go to somebody who's won a major. Not in that such words, he's basically saying that there should be more points awarded to major winners. Now the thing is, Lee Westwood is probably one of the best, he is the best golfer in the world. The way the point system works is over 2 years, how you do well consistently through all the tournaments is how you're ranked. Now I agree with the point system at the moment. I think that winning a regular European Tour event or a regular USPGA event merits a huge amount of points. I think the gap between winning a major and the regular season, it shouldn't be as big as what Nick Faldo's talking. So I personally think this ranking system's okay. If you disagree, certainly leave some comments down below. Now finally, we're going to go down to a football club which has come from the old Manchester United board. What happened is, when the Glazer family took over Manchester United, the old board, some of the old supporters went away and formed a new club because they were so incensed by the fact that these American owners have taken over their club. They're going to use it to make money, which, you know, is fair enough, I suppose. But anyway, they formed this club called FC United of Manchester. I personally have been following these guys for 4 or 5 years. They've come up from the I think the 10th league, the 10th tier of English football, and brought themselves all the way up to what they're in now is the Unibond Premier League. I don't know if you'll remember, they played in the FA